Welcome to this special edition of the New Stack Makers on the Road. We're here in KubeCon, North America in
Detroit Rock City!
Discussions from the show floor with technologists giving you their expertise and insights to help you with your everyday work.
Hello, in this latest edition of the New Stack Makers podcast, we're going to find out everything we need to know about Hazelcast, a real-time data processing solution. With us, we have Manish Devgan. He is the Chief Product Officer at Hazelcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. First of all, what does a Chief Product Officer do?
I run products. So basically deciding on the product strategy and making sure that we are delivering solutions to our customers and solving their problems.
So what is Hazelcast?
Hazelcast is a real-time stream processing engine. And we have a platform which allows you to basically power the real-time economy. There are a lot of the use cases which we go after where, the time is money. And it's very important for these customers to take real-time actions on insights they're gathering on fresh data.
What is real-time data?
It's interesting. Real-time means different things to different people, but it's really a business term. It basically is time is money. For certain customers, 30 milliseconds is something which is real-time. For others, 1 second is good enough. So it's really a business term on what, if you want to really take action on insights in that moment, which is important for that business.
So the data itself, in this real-time scenario, where does the data come from?
Well, data is coming in as streams.
All right.
And data is never created in batches. I mean, a lot of times I hear from customers that, they are using batch systems because those are the things which are available at that time. But data is created in real time. Sensors, you have machines spewing out data, or even customer data, right? When customers are transacting with you, they're transacting in real time. So the transactional data is being created in real time.
Nice. So I imagine that your customers have many sources of real-time data. What does a processing engine do?
Yeah, so we are able to analyze data as it's coming in. So a lot of the solutions in the market, where you actually have to store incoming data first and then analyze. Right. But here you can actually analyze as the data is coming in. So you can analyze data in motion as well as data at rest. So it's really a solution which allows you to analyze data, streaming data. So before it even maybe persisted. So a typical use case might be, you're at an ATM, a bank is using our solution as an ATM,
right,
where customers are transacting and they're able to offer them real-time loans. And they've seen that if they're able to actually meet customers' expectation in real time, in that window of opportunity, they're actually able to increase their loan origination by 400%. So that happens because you're able to transact or you're able to interact with your customer in real time while they're shopping or while they're banking.
But I could do that in a database, right?
You can do that in a database, but not in that moment, right? You'll have to first store that stream coming in and then analyze. But here, you're able to do much richer, you're able to take actions at a much richer level in the sense that you have customer data coming in and you have to look at customer history. Back to the example about real-time offers. As the data comes in, you can actually take action based on context of the data which may be stored. Right? So you're able to join data in motion and data at rest. So,
I did not know that.
A customer may be transacting at an ATM machine, but you may want to look up the history of the customer, which may be stored, to provide that context for you to generate a loan. And that's one of the things which we recently announced, your ability to do a join between data in motion and data at rest.
So I could the data at rest could be from any database or data warehouse or anything like that, or
Yeah, so it could be in any database, but for you to make that decision in that 30 milliseconds while the customer is banking or while that customer is transacting, you need high speed, low latency access to data. Technology which provide you to not only process streams, but also do context enrichment based on the data which is stored is gold, right? That's where you can really provide value to your customer.
I know of a standard database, I get all the SQL commands, and if I want to delve more, I can, write a prepared statement. What are the range of commands that I could use with Hazelcast?
We are SQL first by design. And we make sure that our developers who are building solutions on top of the platform are able to use SQL for both data in motion as well as data at rest. So we support SQL for all operations, including creation of data, updating data, and querying as well.
What sort of tools do you have for developers?
We have APIs.
Okay.
So developers typically use APIs. I mean, you can, as a developer, you could use SQL, but also you could use Java. We have C++, C Sharp, and many other languages supported directly for accessing streaming data.
Now, when I hear the term streaming data, I hear quite a bit about Kafka, and there's various Kafka, and they're like, oh, this is streaming data. In what ways is Hazelcast superior to a Kafka solution?
So we use, a lot of our customers use Kafka to ingest data into the platform. Where we shine is where when you want to do streaming analytics, you want to do analytics on that streaming data. And that's where they use us in conjunction with Kafka. That's kind of where we kind of interact with Kafka.
So you would, in this case, you're just using Kafka to bring the data in.
Yes, data in or basically moving data around. When you're about taking action on the data streaming in, that's where they use our solution to do stream processing, and then context enrichment from the data we store in our platform.
This is all happening in working memory?
We are memory first. So when the latency requires that you store data in memory, then we do that. But we also have a tiered storage model where you can decide on using things like NVMe, SSDs. So you can actually store data in a tiered way. So that way, you can decide whether the hot data resides in memory, but the not so hot data may reside in another tier. So we provide them flexibility in how to store data.
And that's another new recent enhancement with
That's right, with tiered storage.
Hazelcast 5.2.
5.2.
Okay.
And 5.2, we basically have tiered storage available. So you can actually store the data in a hybrid way, in memory as well as on disk or SSDs and NVMe.
So we talked about the developer experience. What does this look like for the admin who has to set up and maintain and run it?
A lot of our customers use the platform in a more self-hosted way. We run on Kubernetes, so we actually have discovery plugins and operators for people who are managing the cluster to use them. We announced recently a serverless offering, which is a managed service, a cloud managed service, and that basically takes that operational complexity away from you. So now our customers don't have to worry about setting up clusters or dynamically scaling up or shrinking. We do that automatically, but you basically are working on your business use case on top of our platform. So if you're worried about this operational complexity or this heavy lifting you have to do, you can basically use our managed service. Our managed service is called Viridian. So that's a service which you can sign up for and start to work on your solution.
And so how does that work? It's just all done through APIs?
It's all done through APIs. So basically, you simply have to, on one click, start the cluster, and then you can interact with the cluster using API or even SQL, right? Java API or SQL.
How am I charged for that? Is it a monthly per usage?
Yeah, we have different pricing models for that. We have a serverless tier, which is a free tier, where we actually have 2 GB of storage free.
Oh.
But as you move further, then you can pay per gigabyte. And then we are also working on a metric of request units where you basically gets charged as you provision more data, as you provision more servers.
Excellent. The 2 gig, is that working memory?
Yeah, that's working memory, yeah.
So for the self-hosted, do you provide the hardware? Do I buy the hardware?
Yeah, we are basically a software company, so you can run on commodity hardware, or you can run on, Azure or GCP or AWS. It really depends on what cloud you want to run on. But we provide you the hooks you need to run our platform on, if you're running it on self-hosted way.
What sorts of companies or industries use Hazelcast the most?
Yeah, so we are primarily in 3 verticals, I would say. One is definitely financial services. So, a lot of the big banks, a lot of the credit card companies, you can imagine the use cases are around fast data access and stream processing.
Yeah.
So it is about credit card fraud and transact and payment processing.
Right.
So the second big industry is retail and e-commerce.
Right.
And the third is health services. So healthcare is becoming the third biggest vertical for us.
Healthcare, they need real-time data.
Real-time data, real-time notifications. A lot of the use cases we have are around, monitoring of devices, monitoring of patient beds, right?
Oh, okay.
Those are expensive equipment
Makes sense.
which they want to monitor. And also, just in basic healthcare, you need real-time notifications for the doctors to know, for providing you the best patient care.
Now, when I think in memory, I think it's expensive.
Actually, the hardware has changed quite a bit in the last few years. And that's one of the reasons why we have invested in tiered storage, where, you can store and have the low latency, predictable low latency in an SSD environment, right? So we really cost optimize, for your use case. If your use case requires, sub-millisecond, we can actually provide that on an SSD-based mechanism. But if you're looking at microsecond or a single millisecond, then then you have to go to a full in-memory kind of solution. So there is flexibility there, and that's how we optimize,
The enterprise contract, is that like on a per year basis, on a per usage, or?
Yeah, we basically charge pay as you go or pay as you provision. So it's a fairly flexible model there. But for certain use cases, we also have custom pricing. So based on your use case, we kind of price that out for you.
Are there any other aspects of the recent release you would want to highlight for us?
Yeah, I think the recent release is really big for us because we are inching towards becoming the system of record for all real-time applications.
Okay.
So the tiered storage is one step in that direction. Combining streaming with storage. And that's becoming very, very fundamental for any kind of real-time application. Because, data is always created in streams. They're not created in batches. So we are trying to bring together streaming and storage, compute and storage, to be the part of the data platform.
Dealing with streaming data, is that different for the developer? Or are there concepts that they have to think about?
They have to think about, if a data is being generated in stream, I should be able to analyze that in streams as well. You don't have to store the data and then use a batch system to process that. So that's, I think, a fundamental shift in, I think, the developer mindset that I am ingesting data fast, and actually I can analyze and take action on that data fast as well. So that's the fundamental shift. But I think as far as the programmatic APIs go, it's equal.
All right, yeah. But you're given a time window
Yes, it's given
to
a
work
time.
with.
That's right.
Anything else about the 5.2 release you want to share?
The only thing I would say is that if you want to try out our next release, go to Hazelcast and look at the Viridian option. And, you can sign up for free and kickstart the platform and see the benefits you get from real-time data processing.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to get us up to speed. And thank you, listeners and viewers, for checking in. And this concludes another episode of the New Stack Podcast.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on all the major social media platforms. You can always find us at thenewstack.io. We hope to see you soon.